Miles to please come to the podium to deliver the student address. Y'all welcome Alexander.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the introduction. I am so honored to speak on behalf of the greatest graduating class Kinkaid has ever seen. To the families and guests, staff and administration, facilities, and everyone who made today possible, thank you for your support, guidance, and hard work. We wouldn't be here today without y'all. I remember when I first told a few of my friends and a few other people that I was giving this speech, and most of them had the same reaction. They all said, "Wow, that's really exciting, I can't wait to hear it." But there was one person who was actually honest with me, and they said to me, "Alexander, aren't you a little nervous about giving that speech? I mean, you gotta talk in front of a lot of people, and no offense, but I feel like you'd be a bad public speaker." Yeah, because if you make a mistake on stage during your speech, it would be so embarrassing. The audience is gonna point and boo you off stage. You're lucky Raevyn Rogers is going after you because you can't follow an Olympic medalist. She's an icon. And she lapped you in the 800. Dude, no pressure. But if I was in your shoes, I'd have so much anxiety about that speech. To which I replied, "Thanks for the pep talk, Mom." Before I begin, and on a more serious note, this ceremony today is about reflection. We're all here to look back on the last 4 years, and so I think it's really important to take a moment to remember our friend and classmate, Chloe Baylor, who, although is no longer with us, will always be a member of Kinkaid's class of 2025. It's impossible for me to think about high school as a whole without remembering her beautiful spirit and smile, as well as the impact of her life and passing on all of us. This grade has been through a lot together, and it's crazy how the 4 years went by so fast, but at the same time, so much has happened. So much has changed. Thinking back to the freshman retreat and looking through old photos, some of y'all truly look unrecognizable. I've changed a lot since freshman year, naturally, but I didn't realize the full extent of that until just a few weeks ago. You see, Decisions was a mandatory class that we all took in 9th grade, and one of the most memorable things we did was write a letter to our senior selves. So it was kind of like a time capsule. We wrote a letter, sealed up the envelope, and then finally, at the end of senior year, we revisited what we wrote. So if you'll indulge me, I'd like to read a portion of that letter. Keep in mind, these are the exact words I wrote nearly 4 years ago. Here goes. "Dear future me, I am in 9th grade. It is January 2022, and I would like to make several predictions about what the future will hold. Firstly, I predict that the purple team will win field day. In fact, purple's gonna win all 4 years because that's what we do. Secondly, I believe that in the very near future, we will create real artificial intelligence. But instead of AI taking over the world, like in the Terminator, it will become an invaluable asset to those who can't write their own emails, or essays, or speeches. Thirdly, I predict that in junior year, we will be forced to park off campus at a nearby Presbyterian church. Some people, I'm not gonna name names, will ignore the memo, park in the garage anyway, and still be late to first period. And lastly, I just want to say how proud I am of you. High school will probably be really difficult. But the good news is, I know all of your hard work and patience will have been worth it. Because if you're reading this, it means that you made it to senior year. And more than anything, I can't wait to have our own senior center. It is the light at the end of my tunnel, and quite frankly, the only incentive I have to stay in school. Okay, I confess. I didn't actually write any of that in my 9th grade letter. This is some AP Gov homework. But come find me afterwards if you want to hear my predictions for the next 4 years. In 10th grade, Kinkaid hosted the most amazing German foreign exchange student who crashed at my house, ate all our food, and got driven around everywhere by his own personal chauffeur, me. I am, of course, referring to the one and only Fionn Felix Mulvey. The first time I met Fionn was when my mom and I picked him up from the airport less than a week before the first day of school. Keep in mind, we had only communicated via email a few times over the summer. We hadn't even talked over the phone. So I'm standing at the terminal, not knowing what to expect, holding this big welcome sign, and off walks the most European stereotype with one suitcase, wearing Adidas Sambas, 6XL baggy jeans, and a Berlin soccer jersey. Over the course of the year, Fionn had the most incredible experience, and a very large part of that had to do with the community here at Kinkaid that welcomed him with open arms and made him feel like he truly belonged. And this place clearly rubbed off on him, because when it was time to say goodbye, I remember dropping him off at the airport. He now had 3 suitcases with him, wearing an American football jersey, cowboy boots, a cowboy hat, his varsity leather jacket, and carrying his lacrosse stick. He went from Ich bin ein Berliner to looking like a Ford F-150 truck commercial. Really and truly, I'm so lucky to have gained the best brother for life, and Fionn will always have Houston as a second. In 11th grade, we lost our precious parking garage and our 30,000 square foot library. But we got the beautiful temporary upper school with exactly 1 outlet per classroom and never enough umbrellas for when it rains. Seriously, who keeps stealing those? By the way, everyone looks fantastic. The robes are really fashionable. However, I just gotta say it. I can't help but notice that I see no Falcon cards on this stage. I mean, I got mine, but the rest of y'all, the tension's for everybody. 11th grade is also the year most of us really started thinking about college, unless you're like me and waited until senior year winter break. Dr. Hardy knows what I'm talking about. But seriously, where would we be without the amazing teachers and deans at this school? Whether they're offering advice, writing rec letters that made us sound far more impressive than we felt, or just reminding us to breathe, they showed up for us again and again. We came for the candy, but we stayed for them. Which brings us to senior year. This year, we celebrated Field Day's 100th anniversary, and just as I predicted, the gold team lost again. I mean, I don't get that. How are you gonna call yourself the gold team and then take the silver medal every time? This year, I also had the pleasure of serving as a peer mentor, which was a nice full circle moment, because I can clearly remember being a freshman and looking up to the seniors who seemed to have it all figured out. But now that we're seniors, I think we can all agree the freshmen have no respect these days. I've noticed a phenomenon this year that actually seems to be common with every graduating class. You see, for most of high school, we kept ourselves busy. Busy trying to keep up with classes, sports, arts, music, jobs, and everything between. For the most part, we stayed in our friend groups and stuck to our routines. But it wasn't until we felt our time together running out that we started to open up and take more chances. despite going to the same school for 4 or 7 or 14 years, we started having conversations that ended with us saying to each other, I never knew that about you. And why? Why did we wait till the eve of graduation to really get to know everyone? Whatever the reason, I want to encourage everyone to keep that spirit going for as long as you can. Yes, you technically have 1 more week to learn more about someone sitting on this stage, but you also have a lifetime to go of meeting people. And these people, who may not look like you, or sound like you, or think like you, might still surprise you, challenge you, or even become your closest friends. In our diversity lies our strength. Never let anyone tell you otherwise. If there's anything we've learned, it's that Kinkaid is more than just a school, because we've seen buildings literally come and go. What makes this place so special is the people. You remember the big milestones, but it's the small things that are truly memorable. Those quiet, ordinary moments are what makes saying goodbye so difficult. And as much as there is joy for the future of us soon-to-be graduates, there's also a great deal of sadness today. It feels like we're leaving this place forever. We're losing the comfort of familiar faces, familiar hallways, and friendships. But let me assure you that you never really leave Kinkaid. The Kinkaid Fundraising Committee will be on your back until the day you die. You're going to be 100, forgotten all about this place, and they're the ones who are going to remind you where it all started when they call you up for donations. I'm just giving them a hard time. I already contributed my $20.25. Thank you very much. Congratulations, class of 2025. And Raevyn, I challenge you to a race. Just give me like a 30-second head start, okay? Thank you so much. Go Falcons.